It never crossed my mind to be afraid to talk about my recovery. It's not something to be ashamed of or afraid of. It's part of who I am. And if something I say can help somebody somewhere, then probably the more people that know, the better.
This week, the Chief Development Officer of Subway, America's largest food franchise, poses as an unemployed counselor looking for a new career.
John Wilson.
John, nice to meet you.
My recovery is a big part of my background and a big part of my life, and it's given me the life that I have today. So when I did Undercover Boss, it kind of slipped out. It was a very difficult transition for me. I had come from staying out till 5 a.m, getting up in the afternoons just in time for General Hospital. All of a sudden, I had to switch my lifestyle to sitting behind a desk and acting normal.
At the time, I was sitting watching your show thinking, damn, a beer over there would be nice. But I'm still trying to resist the temptation. But in hearing him and hearing what he went through, I know how hard it is.
Until one day, I had an on-the-job meltdown and collapsed under a drug and alcohol problem. It's kind of a funny thing with alcohol. It starts out being your best friend and it turns into your worst enemy. After I came out of rehab, Fred DeLuca gave me a second chance. I've been in recovery now for 27 years.
To see a guy who's in charge of a $1 billion a year company, he can go on national television and be open and honest. That meant everything to me. After the show, I grabbed a laptop and I started typing out a letter.
I received so many great messages from people, and that particular one was the one that touched me the most and really made me feel good about discussing my recovery on national television. Because if I hadn't done that, he never would have said this. And this is what he said. Mr. Fertman, I had seen you on Undercover Boss. I was extremely surprised to see an alcoholic as the boss.
About 3.5 years ago, I was caught for a DWI in the state of Texas. But the truth is, I wasn't really ready to quit drinking yet. I was caught for a second DWI on November 7th of this year in Aurora, Indiana.
Now, I am ready to not only quit drinking, but to become a better person. You see, if I'm lucky, I will not have a felony on my record and could still work in my chosen field and make something more of myself than a working man who feels he has to drink.
Please understand, I'm not asking you for anything. I am, however, sending you praise and letting you know that you've made a difference in my life.
Just because I am an alcoholic doesn't mean I cannot succeed and I can reach the top of the ladder.
I know I can only take one day at a time, but if you and others can do this and become one of the top people for a prestigious company like Subway, then I can do this as well.
Please let me thank you once again for being brave enough to go on national television
and let a fellow recovering alcoholic know that with determination and hard work, anything is possible. Sincerely, Harold Andrews.
And I believe that if you can just touch one person and send them on the right path, then the job is done.